You drink 1.6 billion servings of it every single day. Not you personally, though honestly, who knows. 1.6 billion servings every day on this planet. It is the most recognized brand name in human history. More recognizable than any government, any religion, any flag. And it was invented by a broken man who just wanted to stop taking drugs. Welcome to the Food Files. Today we open the most unexpected case in American food history. The story of Coca-Cola. And before you say, I already know this story, I promise you, you do not know this story. Hit subscribe right now, because if this is your first time on the Food Files, this is exactly what we do here. Every episode, real history, the version they don't teach you. Let's open the file and explore the truth. July 8, 1831, Knoxville, Georgia. A boy named John Stith Pemberton is born. Not exactly a name that screams future creator of the world's most powerful brand, but here we are. By the age of 19, Pemberton had already earned a medical degree from the Reformed Medical College of Georgia. 19 years old. Medical degree. Which means he was simultaneously smarter and more ambitious than most of us will ever be in our entire lives. He sets up a pharmacy in Columbus, Georgia. He gets married, has a son named Charles. Life is good. Then, America tears itself apart. 1861. The Civil War begins. Pemberton enlists in the Confederate Army. He's commissioned as a lieutenant colonel of the 3rd Georgia Cavalry Battalion. He is not just a soldier, he is a chemist, a doctor, and a commander. A genuinely impressive man on the wrong side of history, but that's a conversation for another episode. April 16, 1865, the Battle of Columbus, Georgia. This is the last major battle east of the Mississippi, the final significant fight of the Civil War. And John Pemberton is right in the middle of it. Union troops storm Columbus. Pemberton is in the line of fire. He takes a saber wound directly across the chest. He also suffers a gunshot wound. He survives, but the pain is unbearable. And in 1865, America, there is only one thing doctors give you for unbearable pain. That one thing was morphine. Pemberton, like tens of thousands of other Civil War veterans, becomes immediately addicted. Morphine addiction was the opioid crisis of post-Civil War America. An estimated 400,000 veterans came home dependent on the drug. They called it soldier's disease. John Pemberton was one of them. And unlike most of them, he had a chemistry lab, which is either the best or worst detail of this entire story. Probably both. Comment question number 1. Did you know that morphine addiction after the Civil War affected hundreds of thousands of Americans? Drop a yes or no below, because this part of American history almost never gets talked about. So we have a wounded Confederate veteran, a trained pharmacist and chemist, a morphine addict desperate to get clean, and a fully equipped laboratory. What could possibly go wrong? Let me introduce you to a French product called Vin Mariani. In 1863, a French chemist named Angelo Mariani created a tonic made from Bordeaux wine mixed with coca leaves from South America. Each fluid ounce contained approximately 6 milligrams of cocaine, and this drink was not sold in dark alleys, it was sold in pharmacies. It was prescribed by doctors, it was endorsed by celebrities. Who were the celebrities in 1863? Queen Victoria endorsed it. Thomas Edison said it helped him work longer hours. Ulysses S. Grant, the former US president, fan. Jules Verne, the author, big fan. And I need you to really absorb this, Pope Leo XIII. The Pope of the Catholic Church put his face on a cocaine wine advertisement. Pope Leo XIII personally awarded Vin Mariani the Vatican Gold Medal. The Pope of Rome gave a gold medal to an alcoholic cocaine tonic. I want to be clear, this is a verified historical fact. Not a joke, not a rumor, the Vatican Gold Medal for cocaine wine. Pemberton saw all of this and thought, I can do that, I can make something like that. Something that will cure my morphine addiction. In 1866, he began experimenting. His first attempt was something called Dr. Tuggle's compound syrup of globe flower, which contained an active ingredient derived from buttonbush. It was a toxic plant. It did not work. It may have actively made things worse. We don't know. The records are unclear. The fact that it involved a toxic plant and didn't kill him is arguably a miracle. Undeterred, Pemberton pivoted. He began experimenting with coca leaves and coca wines, inspired directly by Vin Mariani. And in 1885, he created his masterpiece. He called it Pemberton's French Wine Coca. It contained extracts of coca leaves, cocaine, extracts of cola nuts, massive amounts of caffeine, extracts of damiana, a Central American shrub rumored to have aphrodisiac properties, and Bordeaux wine, quite a lot of it. He marketed it as a cure-all. Cures morphine addiction, cures depression, cures alcoholism, cures impotence, cures headaches, cures neurasthenia, which was the 1880s word for being generally stressed. Did it cure his own morphine addiction? Absolutely not. But it sold incredibly well because it contained cocaine, caffeine, and wine, which will make almost anything feel better, at least temporarily. Pemberton advertised it specifically to Civil War veterans suffering addiction and depression, and to, this is the actual ad copy, ladies and all those whose sedentary employment causes nervous prostration, cocaine wine, marketed to tired office workers and anxious women. The 1880s were truly something else. Comment question number 2. The Pope endorsed a cocaine wine. Thomas Edison said it helped him work. Queen Victoria drank it. Which celebrity endorsement shocks you most? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. So Pemberton has his cocaine wine. Business is looking quite decent. The morphine addiction is still very much present, but life is still manageable until the government shows up. 1886, Atlanta, Georgia enacts local prohibition laws. No more alcohol was allowed, which means Pemberton's French wine Coca, which is, let's remember, a significant portion wine, is now illegal. Pemberton has a choice: abandon his product or reformulate it. He goes into his backyard, he has a large brass kettle, he starts mixing. He needs to replace the wine with something. He adds sugar syrup, he adds citric acid to cut the bitterness. He adds a secret mixture of oils and spices. The coca leaves stay, the cocaine stays. The cola nut stays, the caffeine stays. He removes the alcohol. He adds some sort of mystery flavoring that he refuses to write down in full, which becomes the legendary secret formula we're still arguing about today. He mixes up a batch of syrup and walks it over to Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta, just around the corner. Now here is where the accident happens. A pharmacy clerk, whose name history has unfortunately not preserved, takes Pemberton's syrup and mixes it with carbonated soda water instead of plain water. Nobody planned this. It was not a strategy. The clerk just happened to have soda water available and asked the customer if that was okay. The customer simply said yes. The bubbles hit the syrup. The flavor was different, refreshing, crisp, alive. And Coca-Cola was born. Not in a lab, not after years of research, in a pharmacy, by a clerk, with soda water, by accident. May 8, 1886. The first glass of Coca-Cola was sold at Jacob's Pharmacy in Atlanta. Price, 5 cents. Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, came up with the name Coca-Cola, named after the two key active ingredients, the coca leaf and the cola nut. Robinson also designed the logo. That flowing cursive script you know from every can, every bottle, every truck, every sign on every continent on the planet. Frank Robinson designed that logo in 1886, and it has never been changed. And it has never been changed. In the first year of business, Coca-Cola sold 990 gallons of syrup, roughly 76,800 servings. Total first-year profit, 510. For context, Coca-Cola's revenue today is approximately $45 billion per year. Not a bad return on a backyard chemistry experiment and a clerk who grabbed the wrong water. Comment question number 3. Coca-Cola was invented by accident. Soda water instead of plain water. What other food or drink do you think was probably invented the same way? Drop your best guess below. Most creative answer gets pinned. Alright, let's talk about the cocaine, because we've mentioned it, but we haven't really talked about it. The original Coca-Cola formula contained approximately 9 milligrams of cocaine per serving. 9 milligrams per glass, sold at pharmacy counters to the general public, including children. And Pemberton didn't hide this. He advertised it. Coca-Cola was marketed as, and I'm reading this directly from the original advertising copy, a brain tonic and intellectual beverage. It was also advertised as a cure for impotence, dyspepsia, that's indigestion, neurasthenia, that's stress, headaches, nausea, and magnificently as morphine addiction, a drink containing cocaine being sold as a cure for drug addiction. This is either the most ironic product in American history or the most honest one. It actually worked. In the short term, cocaine is chemically capable of reducing morphine cravings. This is documented medical fact. Did it actually cure Pemberton's addiction? No, he was still heavily addicted to morphine, and now also consuming significant amounts of cocaine on a daily basis. Meanwhile, the business was a mess. Pemberton was so disorganized, so compromised by his addiction, that he began selling rights to his formula to multiple partners simultaneously. By 1888, there were at least 3 different companies all using the name Coca-Cola and all claiming to sell the original product. He needed money desperately. His morphine addiction was expensive. He was seriously ill. Stomach cancer was developing. And so, in 1888, John Pemberton sold his remaining interest in the Coca-Cola formula. The buyer was a businessman named Asa Griggs Candler. The price, $300. The price was exactly $300. $300 for Coca-Cola. In today's money, that's roughly $10,000. Coca-Cola's current market value is approximately $260 billion. He sold $260 billion for $300. Because he was sick, because he was addicted, because he needed the money right now. Pemberton had a feeling, even at the end, that his formula would become something massive. He He reportedly told people, "Someday this will be a national drink." He was right, he just didn't live to see it. August 16th, 1888, John Stith Pemberton died of stomach cancer. He was 57 years old. He died poor, addicted to morphine, owning no part of the company he created. His son Charles, who had been put in charge of production early on, had developed his own opioid addiction. In 1894, just 6 years after his father's death, Charles Pemberton was found unconscious, a stick of opium next to his body. Tragically, he died just a few days later. Pemberton's wife spent the rest of her life as a pauper. The man who invented the most successful commercial product in human history died broke, addicted, and forgotten, while the brand he created went on to conquer the entire planet. If that's not the most American story ever told, I don't know what is. But wait, we haven't talked about what happened to the cocaine yet, or the secret formula. Because that story is almost as wild as everything we've covered so far. Comment question number 4. Pemberton sold Coca-Cola for $300. What is the worst business decision you've ever personally made? Drop it below, no judgment, we're all in this together. So Asa Candler buys Coca-Cola for $300, and immediately does what Pemberton could not. He markets it, aggressively, brilliantly. In 1888, the very first year under Candler, he prints the very first coupon in American history, a ticket for one free glass of Coca-Cola. By 1913, 25 years later, the company had redeemed 8.5 million of those coupons. Candler takes Coca-Cola national, then international. He builds the empire that Pemberton dreamed of. But there's still the cocaine problem. By the early 1900s, public opinion on cocaine has completely shifted. What was once considered a miracle ingredient is now recognized as a dangerous addictive drug. There are congressional hearings, there are newspaper investigations, there are lawsuits. And there's a very specific problem. How do you remove cocaine from a product called Coca-Cola without admitting you had it in there the whole time? Answer: you do it quietly, and you hope nobody notices. By 1903, Candler claims to have reduced the cocaine content to roughly 1/10 of the original formula. He achieves this by using what he calls spent coca leaves, leaves that have already been processed for cocaine extraction. But here is where the story takes a sudden twist. A surprise inspection by the US Food and Drug Administration in the 1920s found that Coca-Cola still contained trace amounts of cocaine well after 1903. Officially cocaine-free since 1903, technically cocaine-free sometime later. Exactly when, unclear. Today, Coca-Cola still uses coca leaves in its formula. They are processed by a single company in the United States, the Stepan Company in Maywood, New Jersey, which is the only company legally authorized to import and process coca leaves in America. The cocaine is extracted and removed. What's left goes into Coca-Cola. The company has never confirmed exactly what happens to the extracted cocaine. Now let's talk about the mysterious secret formula. After Pemberton's death, the original recipe passed through several hands. Candler memorized it and allegedly destroyed all written copies. The formula, known as Merchandise 7X, is today stored in a custom-built vault at the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. The vault was specially designed in 2011. Only 2 Coca-Cola executives know the formula at any given time. When one retires or dies, they pass it on personally to their successor. They are not allowed to travel on the same plane together, just in case. This is either extraordinary corporate security or the world's most effective marketing stunt. Probably both. Now, the final numbers. In 1887, first full year of sales, Coca-Cola made a profit of $510. Today, 1.6 billion servings are consumed every single day. The company operates in over 200 countries. There are only 2 countries on Earth where Coca-Cola is not officially sold: North Korea and Cuba, both under long-standing US trade sanctions. The red and white Coca-Cola color scheme is so globally recognized that some historians credit it with shaping our modern image of Santa Claus. Coca-Cola's 1930s Christmas ads depicting Santa in red and white helped standardize the image worldwide. And all of this, the 200 countries, the 1.6 billion daily servings, the vault in Atlanta, the Santa Claus, the secret formula with 2 designated keepers who cannot fly on the same plane, but remarkably all of it traces back to one single man. A wounded Confederate soldier, a morphine addict, a pharmacist in a backyard with a brass kettle who just wanted to get clean. John Stith Pemberton never got clean. He never got rich. He never saw his creation become what it became. He sold the whole thing for $300. Died 2 years later. His son died of an overdose shortly after. His wife died in poverty. And today his face appears on a small statue in the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, depicting him stirring his famous formula in a brass kettle, with no mention of the morphine, no mention of the cocaine, no mention of the $300. Just a cheerful pharmacist, stirring a drink, changing the world. That is the file on Coca-Cola. Case closed, or is it? The secret formula is still secret. The coca leaves are still in there. And somewhere in a vault in Atlanta, two people know something the rest of us never will. If you made it to the end of this episode, you are officially one of the most informed Coca-Cola drinkers on the planet. Subscribe to the Food Files, new case every 2 weeks, because every single thing you eat and drink has a story like this one. You just don't know it yet. Next case, the potato chip was invented as an act of revenge. One angry chef, one rich complaining customer, and an accident that created a $150 billion industry. That file opens in 2 weeks. Stay curious, stay hungry, and next time you crack open a Coke, just remember what it took to get there.